I came home that night with grease on my hands and dirt in the creases of my jeans. My back ached from a full day under the lift, and all I could think about was the leftover meatloaf in the fridge. I wasn't 2 steps through the door before Loretta hit me with it. "I want a separation," she said, standing in the kitchen with her arms folded like she'd been practicing that line all day. I blinked. "Come again." She didn't flinch. Just leaned her hip against the counter, cool as ice. "I'm tired of this life, Hank. Of scraping by. Of coming home to the same greasy boots by the door and the same boring conversations. I want more. I need a man with real ambition." I dropped my keys into the little dish by the door, slower than I needed to. "So this is how it's gonna be?" She shrugged, like it didn't mean a damn thing. "I deserve better." I nodded, walking past her toward the fridge. "You been thinking this a while?" "Long enough." She tilted her head, voice softening in that fake sweet way she used to butter me up. "It's not like you didn't see this coming, Hank. You've been stuck in that little garage for years. No plans, no drive. I want to live before I'm too old to enjoy it." I pulled out the meatloaf, but suddenly it didn't look too appetizing. I set it on the counter anyway. "And what exactly is it you plan to do?" She smiled, real smug now. "Already started making arrangements. You'll need to find somewhere else to stay. I've decided to keep the house. It's mine, anyway." I turned to her. "Yours?" "Yeah." She lifted her chin like she'd just made some grand declaration. "You signed it over to me, remember? Years ago? You said it was a gift." I stared at her. Not angry. Not shocked. Just tired. "Yeah, I remember. And I did. Back when things were good. Back when she made me feel like I had something worth protecting. I had the deed drawn up in her name for our anniversary. It was supposed to be a symbol of trust. Now it was her leverage." "Guess you think you played this real smart," I said, finally looking her dead in the eye. "I'm just being honest," she said, folding her arms again. "You'll land on your feet. You always do. But this little life of yours, it's not enough for me anymore." I didn't argue, didn't yell, didn't throw anything. I just nodded, turned back to the counter, and put the meatloaf back in the fridge. Because what she didn't know, what she never once bothered to ask, was that I wasn't just the guy changing oil and scraping by. I was the owner. Silent, sure, but full owner of 3 other garages spread across Oklahoma and Texas. All profitable, all running smooth because I'd built them that way. I'd made myself look small so people wouldn't come sniffing, including her. She looked at me like she'd won something, and I let her. For now. The next few weeks felt like I was living in someone else's house. I'd come in from the shop, same as always, and there'd be Loretta, sitting at the kitchen table like a queen without a crown. The tension was thick, but she acted like she couldn't feel it. Like this was normal. Like nothing she said that night mattered. She'd glance up from her phone, barely bothering to look at me. "You tracking, mud again?" I just mopped. I'd look down at my boots, same pair I'd worn every day for the past 5 years, and shrug. "Guess I'll try walking on air next time." She'd roll her eyes, loud and dramatic, like I just insulted her entire bloodline. Then she'd go right back to tapping out text with her fake French nails clicking like little accusations. I didn't argue. I didn't defend myself. I just went to the spare room, packed a little each day. My fishing gear. My tools. The old photo album she never opened. Little by little, piece by piece, I reclaimed my life. And every night, she'd find a new reason to take a jab. "You gonna sit there and eat leftovers again? You ever think about trying something new?" "I like what I like," I'd say. She'd shake her head. "That's your whole problem." It got to the point where she wasn't even pretending anymore. She'd play her music too loud in the mornings. She'd leave her mess on the counter like it wasn't her turn to clean up. The woman who used to nag me for not rinsing the sink was suddenly living like a teenager left home alone for the first time. And then came the name. "Cliff said we should get that deck looked at," she said one night, flipping through some home magazine. I didn't look up. "Cliff. My friend. You've met him. We all used to go to the lake together." I knew Cliff. Longtime fishing buddy. Used to sit around the campfire with us every 4th of July, drinking beer and talking about nothing. Never figured him for the type to snake around a man's wife. But then again, maybe I gave people too much credit. "Huh," I said, picking at my plate. She smiled, just a little. "He's been real helpful lately. Stopped by the other day, helped me move some furniture." That one hit different. She wanted me to hear it. She wanted to see if I'd flinch. I didn't. "Nice of him," I said. Always did have strong arms. She raised an eyebrow like she expected more. A fight. A breakdown. Something. But all I gave her was quiet. It didn't stop her. She started saying his name more often, like she was trying to train me. Cliff this, Cliff that. Cliff thinks we should paint the living room. Cliff's thinking about getting a boat. Cliff and I are planning a little get-together next weekend. At the house, she added casually one evening while filing her nails. Just some close friends. Our house? I asked. She looked up, eyes full of something halfway between guilt and defiance. Well, it's not like you'll be here, right? I just smiled and stood up. Took my plate to the sink, rinsed it, and placed it neatly in the rack. Hope y'all have fun, I said, because I was counting every word, every dig, every little show of disrespect. And one day it'd all come back around. She just didn't know it yet. It was a Saturday morning when Cliff pulled into the driveway like he belonged there. Sun just rising over the trees, his truck still dusty from whatever dirt road he came down. I was loading up my own rig, boxes of tools, gear, and my old tackle bag I'd kept since high school. He climbed out real casual, holding a six-pack like we were just old buddies catching up. Morning, he called out, lifting the beers like a peace offering. I didn't stop what I was doing. Just nodded once and kept stacking boxes in the bed of the truck. He walked up slow, his boots crunching the gravel. Heard you were moving out. That's right, I said, tightening a bungee cord across the tailgate. Almost done. Cliff scratched the back of his neck. Look, man, this whole thing with Loretta, it wasn't planned. Feelings just kinda changed, you know? I finally turned to face him. His expression was that mix of sheepish and smug I knew too well. Like he thought he was pulling off this honest guy routine, but he wasn't fooling anyone. People drift, he added. Happens. I nodded slowly. Sure. Feelings change. He perked up a little, thinking I was letting him off easy. Exactly. Just wanted to say there's no hard feelings, all right? I mean, I respect you, Hank. Always have. I looked him over, button up too clean for a Saturday, breath minty fresh this early in the morning. The kind of man who just started shaving again for someone new. I picked up my old tackle box and set it on the passenger seat. Then I looked him dead in the eye. You know, Cliff, I said, sometimes a man lets things play out before he makes his move. He blinked. What's that supposed to mean? I smiled. Not wide. Just enough. Just what I said. For the first time since he got there, he stopped talking. I could see it sinking in, the way his jaw tightened, the crease in his forehead forming like a crack in concrete. He didn't know if I was bluffing, threatening, or just talking. That's the thing about staying quiet too long. People start wondering what you know. He looked at the six-pack in his hand like it suddenly weighed too much. All right, well, good luck with everything. I didn't answer. He walked back to his truck slower than he came in. Left without saying goodbye. And me? I watched him drive off, not angry, not hurt. Just patient. Let them get comfortable. Let them believe they won. I had all the time in the world. The courthouse smelled like floor wax and stale coffee. I sat on the hard wooden bench in my best jeans and cleanest flannel, hands folded in my lap like a schoolboy waiting for the principal. Across the aisle, Loretta walked in like she was the guest of honor. Hair done up, heels clicking, that smug little smirk already in place. She didn't look at me. Not once. Just whispered something to her lawyer and took her seat like the outcome was already decided. Truth was, I let her think that. The judge called us forward, asked if we'd reached an agreement. Loretta's lawyer stepped up first, flipping through his notes like he'd just discovered gold. My client is requesting the truck, most of the furniture, and half of the joint savings account, he said, like it was a shopping list. The judge looked at me. Mr. Barnes. I cleared my throat. That's fine. She can have it. Loretta turned her head then. Just a twitch, like she couldn't believe I wasn't going to argue. Her lawyer blinked down at his papers, surprised too. And she'd like to retain the house, he added, a little bolder now. I nodded again. Fine by me. The judge paused. You're agreeing to all terms without contest? Yes, sir, I said. Let her have it all. For a second, the whole room just paused. Like even the fluorescent lights didn't know what to do with that. Loretta adjusted in her seat, that smile faltering just a touch. She kept glancing over at me, probably wondering if I'd finally snapped. I didn't flinch. Just stared ahead like I was thinking about lunch. The judge cleared his throat. Very well. I'll finalize the separation under these conditions. It was over in less than 15 minutes. As we stood to leave, Loretta leaned into her lawyer and whispered something, eyes darting toward me. Then she finally looked me in the face. Guess I got everything I wanted, she said, trying to sound gracious. But her voice was too high, like someone bluffing with a weak hand. I smiled. Hope it brings you happiness. That rattled her. Just a little. Because what she didn't know, and what her lawyer clearly hadn't bothered to check, was that the savings account was a decoy I'd kept mostly empty. I had funneled the real money into a separate account months ago, under a business name. Legal. Clean. Quiet. The truck? Needed a new transmission. The furniture? Bought secondhand after the flood. Most of it was barely worth hauling. And the house? Leased. In my name. With a clause stating I could terminate the agreement anytime with 30 days' notice. She just claimed a whole pile of nothing. But I didn't say a word. I let her strut out of that courtroom like she was walking into a mansion, not a mirage. That's the thing about smoke and mirrors. If someone wants to believe they've won, sometimes the best move is to let him. I didn't have to check up on Loretta and Cliff. This town's the kind of place where gossip moves faster than wind in a cornfield. I just had to sit back and let the stories find me. First came the whispers. Folks at the diner saying Cliff's new truck, shiny red with the custom chrome rims, was getting real friendly with the repo man. Saw it parked at Mid-State Towing last week, one of the old boys said, stirring his coffee. Heard he missed 2 payments. Then came the talk about their parties. At first, they were loud enough to make the neighbor's dog bark all night. People came for the free drinks and stayed for the drama. But those gatherings didn't last. Eventually, even freeloaders know when the fridge is empty. Someone told me Loretta started showing up at the salon less. No more monthly highlights. No more nails done. Just a tight smile and cash in hand. If she had it. Funny thing was, I never once heard Cliff's name mentioned at my shop. Not even when his truck went up for auction. Nobody said it, but folks were catching on. You can't run your life on borrowed charm forever. Then, one evening, I got a text from a number I hadn't saved. Hey, just wondering if we could talk sometime. Hope you're doing well. I stared at it for a minute before deleting it. No name, no follow-up. I already knew who it was. A couple of days later, a second message came through, this time from a new number, but the same tone. Hi Hank. I know this is out of the blue, but I was hoping you might consider helping me with something. Just a small loan. Things have been rough lately. I wouldn't ask if I wasn't out of options. I read it twice, then 3 times. I didn't reply. Instead, I poured myself a cup of coffee, stepped out onto the porch of my farmhouse, and watched the sunset settle behind the wheat field. The house was quieter these days, but it was mine, paid in full, rebuilt from the frame up. I'd installed smart lighting, new floors, and even converted the barn into a home office for the business side of the shops. I wasn't just fixing cars anymore. I was expanding. Took on a second location in Tulsa. Hired a young manager who reminded me of myself 20 years ago. Hungry, honest, and good with people. While Loretta and Cliff were out there trying to play house on credit, I was building something that actually lasted. The thing is, I never wanted revenge. Not really. What I wanted was peace. Respect. Maybe even a little dignity. And now I had it. Quietly. Fully. A few days after that last message, Loretta finally called. This time, she left a voicemail. Hey Hank, I know things didn't end the way we hoped, but I just wanted to say, I miss talking to you. Maybe we could just meet for coffee? I deleted it too. Because here's the truth Loretta never did learn. You can't spend years burning bridges and then act surprised when you're stuck on an island. You don't get to turn your back on a man and then ask him to hold the umbrella when the storm hits. I built my life with oil-stained hands and quiet patience. They tried to take the house, the pride, the name. But all they really did was set me free. It was a slow Tuesday when Loretta showed up at my newest shop. The one off Highway 9 with the glass storefront and polished floors, not a speck of grease in sight. I'd built it to look more like a bank than a garage, because people with money trust shiny things. And these days, I was aiming higher. I was out front, walking a customer through a transmission quote when I saw her through the glass. Hair pulled back, eyes swollen, shoulders slumped. She didn't walk in so much as she folded through the doorway. The guys behind the desk stiffened. They'd heard the stories. Can I help you? I asked, my voice steady, already knowing the answer. She looked up, trying to smile. Hank, can we talk? I nodded toward the office, waved off the customer, and let her follow me in. I shut the door behind us and leaned against the file cabinet. She sat on the edge of the chair like it might collapse under her. I didn't know where else to go, she said quietly. You already been to Cliff? Her mouth tightened. He's not really around much these days. I nodded, like that surprised me. I made a mistake, Hank. I know I did. Her voice cracked. I didn't see it back then, but— Sure you did, I interrupted. You just didn't care. Her eyes flicked up. That's not true. You told me I had no ambition, I said, stepping forward just enough to make her look small. You laughed in my face. Kicked me out of a house you thought you owned. All while Cliff sat on my porch drinking beer like he paid for the damn siding. Tears welled up. I wasn't thinking straight. You were thinking just fine, I snapped. You thought I'd roll over. You thought you'd upgrade. She started sobbing then, soft and messy. Please, Hank. I don't want money. I just want things to go back. They don't, I said flatly. Right then, the door creaked open behind me. Kyle, my assistant manager, poked his head in. Hey, sorry, I didn't know. It's fine, I said. You can leave the door open. Loretta turned halfway in her seat. She didn't want witnesses. But that was the point. Right behind Kyle stood Cliff. Hands in his pockets, face pale. He must have followed her here, but he didn't look like much now. Hair thinning, shirt untucked, eyes half dead. Hank, he started, his voice low. Look, man, I know I screwed up, but maybe we can talk. I cut him off with a wave. There ain't a single thing you can say I want to hear. He stepped forward. At least give me a chance to. No, I looked him square in the face. You had your shot. You played your game. And now you're both here, crying in front of a man you swore was beneath you. Cliff looked around at the guys behind the desk, at the customers out front, at the employees peeking through the shop bay windows. This is between us, he said. No, I replied. This is public now. You made it public the second you rubbed it in my face. So go ahead. Take your shame with you. They both stood there like they might argue, like pride was clawing for one last gasp. I opened the office door wider. You can leave now. They did. And the second the door shut behind them, Kyle muttered, Holy hell. The other guys grinned, impressed. I just went back to work. No revenge. No tantrum. Just truth, plain and clean. And the weight of it, heavy enough to crush them on its own. I was underneath a lifted Silverado, elbow deep in a brake job, when I heard it. Did y'all hear what happened at the diner this morning? It was Sam, my junior tech, coming in hot from his lunch break, still chewing on half a BLT. Cliff got coffee thrown in his face, he said, wide-eyed. Loretta lost her mind on him. Whole porch saw it. I wiped my hands and slid out from under the truck. She threw hot or cold, piping hot, right to the chest. Scalded his ego and his shirt. Whole place froze. I didn't laugh, didn't smile, just nodded once and went back to wiping off the rotor. But inside, something settled. They'd finally turned on each other. Didn't take long. Gossip flew in all directions. Turned out Cliff had been seeing a waitress from the same diner they'd been frequenting. Young thing, barely 22. Loretta apparently caught wind of it when someone made a snide comment about how Cliff sure was spending a lot of time staying late after closing. The meltdown wasn't subtle. She showed up mid-shift, eyes wild, voice loud, and the rest was small-town legend before the check even hit the table. I didn't comment, didn't post, didn't text anyone about it. But I saw the missed call that night. Loretta, then another, then a message. Please, Hank, I know I messed up. I know I don't deserve your kindness, but I need someone. Just to talk. Please. I stared at it a long time. That desperate plea written by the same woman who said I had no ambition, who called me dead weight, who kicked me out of my own house like I was some drifter. And now she wanted comfort. Now she wanted to talk. I didn't reply. Next day, another message. This time longer. I'm so sorry, Hank. For everything. I was stupid. I didn't see who you really were. I see it now. I just wish I hadn't been so blind. I miss you. I miss how safe I felt. Please, if there's anything left of what we had. I blocked her number. I didn't need to hear any more. Because what she really missed wasn't me. She missed the man who made her feel secure while she threw matches at the walls and wondered why the place burned down. She missed the man who worked long hours so she could brag about a life she thought she deserved, until she chased after something shinier and found out it was hollow inside. Cliff betrayed her the same way she betrayed me, and now she knew how it felt. But that didn't mean I owed her anything. She chose that road. All I did was get out of her way. The mornings were different now. No drama. No noise. Just the soft gurgle of my coffee maker, the creak of the porch swing, and the slow warmth of the sun rising over my fields. I sat there most mornings in that same chair, boots crossed at the ankle, mug in hand, watching the fog burn off the pasture like it was scared of the day. And I was fine with that. Better than fine, really. The house was mine again. Not just legally, but spiritually. Every room repainted. Every drawer cleared of the ghost she left behind. I'd torn down the old deck and built something twice as wide, with built-in seating and a fire pit in the middle. My dog, Wiley, claimed it like royalty. Life had become simple, but not small. The blog I started on a whim, Grease and Grit, one man's notes on classic cars and country business, had taken off. I wrote posts about engine restoration, rural work ethic, and what I learned about people from 30 years under hoods. Folks started sharing it. Then news outlets picked it up. Last month, I got invited to speak at a business summit in Dallas. All expenses paid. They wanted to hear about scaling a small-town garage into a regional brand. Imagine that. The man who had no ambition flying first class in boots and a Carhartt jacket, getting applause from men in tailored suits. I'd bought a second property just outside Norman, a little fixer-upper with a detached garage and a long gravel drive. Planning to turn it into a weekend retreat, maybe host car shows in the summer. Old friends started showing up again too. Brady from high school dropped in last week just to say he was proud of me. Said his nephew followed my blog religiously. Even offered to invest in a new shop if I ever wanted to go north. And the respect? It came slowly, like rain soaking into dry soil. But it came. People saw what I'd built. They saw what I survived. They saw me. Sometimes I think about everything I lost. Loretta, the years I gave, the nights I went to sleep thinking love meant giving more than you had. But now, sitting here in the quiet, I realized something. They didn't break me. They revealed me. They cleared my path by stepping off it. And I walked forward. Not angry. Not bitter. Just done with being the man who carried everyone else's weight. Because in the end, I didn't need revenge. I just needed peace. And I found it. Out here in the stillness, with Wiley at my feet, a hot cup in my hand, and the sound of a new day rolling in across the fields. I didn't win by beating them. I won by no longer needing to.